This is Smiles TV. Welcome to Smiles Television Talk Show. I'm your host, Stephanie Anthony Miles, and thank you for tuning in to another broadcast. We have a delightful show for you today. I'll be talking with Marietta Davis, and she's the author of From Autism to Beyond, A Mother's Journey of Hope. Don't go away. Remember, Jesus Christ was born of a virgin. He was crucified and buried, and he rose on the third day. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. Believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, and thou shalt be saved. Stay tuned for more smiles.
Fireworks, and more fireworks. Molly's Fireworks Extravaganza, located at 6607 Bond Avenue in Cahokia Heights, Illinois, has the best variety and lowest prices in the bi-state area. Owned by Molly Stanley, Molly's Fireworks Extravaganza has become the go-to place to shop in the Metro East area. They are open from 9 o'clock a.m. until 9 o'clock p.m. Molly's Fireworks Extravaganza, located at 6607 Bond Avenue in Cahokia Heights, Illinois.
Marietta Davis is an accomplished technology sales executive at IBM and is currently serving as the managing director for the Global Worldwide Coca-Cola Association. She leads an international team that supports Coca-Cola in areas of data analytics and artificial intelligence, automation, and security. She previously served as the Vice President of U.S. Dynamics at Microsoft as the highest-ranking African-American executive in North and Latin America. While at Microsoft, Davis successfully oversaw and grew multiple businesses to billion-dollar corporations with triple-digit growth milestones. Marietta and I met at Bradley University, where she received her bachelor's degree. She also holds an MBA from Loyola University. A published author, Davis has written articles for the Huffington Post and Thrive Global. You just heard a lot about our guest, Marietta Davis, who is the author of From Autism to Beyond, A Mother's Journey of Hope. Learning that your child is autistic brings out a myriad of emotions. Our guest today will take us on her journey of hope. Marietta Davis, thank you for coming to Smiles Television Talk Show.
Thanks for having me.
It is just great seeing you, and I want our audience to know that we go way back. And we won't tell them how far back, okay? But we were college buddies, and that's where we first met. And Marietta became just one of the closest friends to me of most anybody. Marietta, you have had such a great professional career, and then to find out that your child is slightly different, that must have been very, very impactful for you. Would you just share with us a little bit about your background and your journey?
Stephanie, that's a great question. And I don't think any parent is ever prepared for, information that makes your child feel less than typical. I like to use the term typical versus normal. And so there's just so many different thoughts. The objective was to really kind of focus in on what was it that we needed to do to be able to provide for him the best future he could. So there were a lot of emotions, but the most important emotion was pull yourself together and give him what he needs to have so he can be amazing, whatever that is in the future.
Marietta, in reading your book, I found out some great things about you that I didn't know. For example, I didn't realize at 4 years of age, you were pretty much considered a genius, so to speak. Yeah, you're laughing about that, but you were very, very bright as a child as you are today. Tell us a little bit about your experience of being the only African American child in your school and some of the things you encountered at such an early age.
To say that I was a genius would be a gross overstatement because I'm not. Most people who know me would gasp and say that can't possibly be correct. I just, my parents got me in an early nursery school, and I did very well, and I tested, and I was able to skip kindergarten and got into the first grade at 4. Um, I think all those academic things are one thing, but when a child is not as emotionally mature as they should or could be, it's challenging no matter who the child is. But especially when a child is of color and they happen to be the only African American in the 60s in a place called Urbandale, Iowa, there are a whole set of challenges that come from teachers, from principals, from other students, educators. And I think that you learn to roll with the punches. You learn to adapt. You learn to adjust, and you learn what it feels like to be slightly different. You couple that with the fact that my sister had a set of special needs. I think from the beginning, God prepared me to be in a situation where I knew what it was like to feel different. I knew what it was like to cohabitate with my sister and my family differently, so that when Tyler came along, I was ready. It was hard, it was heartbreaking, but I was ready. I was ready.
Wow. And you said when Tyler came along and you and your husband had to
Mhm.
embrace the differences that you saw in your child. What were some of the early indications?
Some of the early indications was lack of eye contact. Even from the beginning, when I, breastfed him, he didn't have a lot of eye contact with me. And I watched other mothers and their children, and I noted that there were some things that were different about him. I also noticed that he was, loved like Barney. And he was also really strong on puzzles and lining things up, and a pattern and a flow. There was something very bright about him, but it didn't really align with other kids, and I thought it just might have been, the early diagnosis of autism was it was because the mother had a distance from her child. So you can only imagine, I thought, if my connection's not there for him, is it something that I did? And it was nothing that I did. It was nothing that his father did. It was just, a set of circumstances. And so you just notice things.
That's a good point that you just brought out because in your book, you state that we should be aware that autism can impact anybody. As a matter of fact, this sentence actually says this disorder is not personal. Autism hits families who are economically well off or impoverished. It affects parents who are highly educated and those who barely graduated high school. And that's something we need to keep in mind because I'm sure most parents at first blame themselves. And in
Mhm.
thinking of this, this was your husband's and your first child, Tyler,
Mhm.
your husband's, your first son.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering the impact that it had on your husband, his first boy.
We'd really have to ask Randy. I don't know how it impacted him. It has to be disappointing. He's very bright, and had graduated from college. Had gone to Kenwood Academy. A very highly prestigious academy in Chicago. So knowing that the intellectual horsepower was there in him and in me, I would think that it would have been difficult for him. And he was just at a different point in his life, I think, facing some other things. None of us prepares ourselves for this. I was probably a little bit more ready for it, given what had happened with my sister and the uniqueness with me. But I got to tell you, throughout it all, when I fell, he was there. When I felt like he was short, he was there. He got stronger as he got older, right? But I think part of it was just the emotional impact. And men oftentimes are not verbal about how things impact them. And I was so caught up in make the donuts, make it right, that I probably wasn't able to reach across the aisle to say, how do you feel? How is this impacting you? And that, if there's anything I'd say to mothers, is as difficult as it is for us when your child's a boy, you got to know it's just as hard for the father. And if I could go back to the early version of Marietta, I would have said I probably would have tried to spend more time understanding how it impacted him.
I understand. Let me ask you this. What advice would you give parents in early detection, and how important is it to have early
So,
detection of autism?
yeah, I mean it's early detection, but it's also early intervention. I think Tyler went on to achieve the things he went on to achieve because we were able to get him early intervention. I was like a dog on a bone. I mean, I am the biggest mama bear there is. And so there wasn't a seminar I didn't go to. There wasn't a study that I didn't read. There wasn't anything that I was insistent that the school district provided him with his individual educational program IEP. And in instances, I had to go get an advocate to ensure that he was going to get the services that he was due. So detection 0 to 2, 0 to 3 is important, and it's hard to put your 2, 3-year-old on a school bus in the morning, let alone a 5-year-old. But I did it, and we did it, and that's why he's just amazing today.
Just real briefly, in your book, you mentioned a girl named Sarah, and I know
Yeah.
Sarah, and
Yeah.
she's a speech pathologist. Tell us how that relationship helped you cope with what you're dealing with, you had to deal with.
You know, God put special people in our path for a reason, and we all went to college together. Great speech pathologists, great audiologists that we know in our sorority. But I think in this one, he attached me to Sarah, maybe perhaps for a preparatory reason with Tyler. And it was those conversations that I was able to have with her to say, hey, seems something's not quite right. I feel like there's this thing called, I read it called PDD, and I think he might have it. And she was just slow to jump to judgment. But if it wasn't for her work at the University of Illinois, the Chicago campus, and the team of experts that we were able to get a cross-category diagnosis for Tyler very, very early, I don't know that he would have been as far along. And so you take a friend that's your sister that you've known since you're 18 years old, and they're walking along their own journey, and you're walking along your journey. We shared so much. I shared a lot of tears. I shared disappointment. I shared frustration, but she was always there to hold my hand, to pick me up, to say, it's going to be okay. Rough day today, but tomorrow's going to be better. And I'm going to be here for you. And so she will ever have an amazing place in my heart, as well as Tyler's. I mean, he loves her. He sends her Mother's Day cards every year. So he loves her.
Wow. Marita, you have a very wealthy professional background, and you have
Mm.
a background that caused you to have to really be intense in your work. How did you
Yeah.
juggle your professional life and your home life?
If I look back on it, I'd say not very well. And I think, you got to be able to give yourself your own grade. I think that, like I said, I'm not sure how my husband dealt with his. My escape mechanism was work. And so it was the one thing I can control. I couldn't control all the different things that were going on in my marriage, and I couldn't control the things that were going on in my home life. I'm in my son's life, but I felt like I could do what I needed to do at work. And so a lot of people look, I speak and I mentor young women as they want to climb the corporate ladder. And they said, how did you do it? And I think not successfully. And I think part of it was an escape mechanism because it was the one thing I could control. And so I worked, work, which was good, right? And I think there's a reason for it. Otherwise, I would have clung to Tyler. And I think if much is given, much is required. So I was really blessed along the way with people that believed in me as well.
There's some great points in here about Tyler and his growth and the things that he's accomplished. Take us on a brief journey because he's a college graduate.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Well, the brief journey, wow, that would be hard. I want people to read the book, and
okay.
I want people to get the book on Amazon. I mean, Tyler is just one of those people that, He aims to please. He doesn't give up. He doesn't want to stop until he gets something done right, which is one of the characteristics of the disorder. You think about that television show, and then television imitates life, The Good Doctor. I mean, the good doctor goes out and does amazing things and has a foresight that none of the rest of us have. And, I would just see him do Rubik's Cubes, and I would see him do things that were just different than other children. The one thing that I was concerned about was his father and I both had strong social skills. So I was really concerned that he wouldn't have those social skills, but I think genetically it kicked in. I think his dad had a lot to do with that. I think I had a lot to do with it, ensuring that he knew how to have a good time. And I think when you're talking about a child that's on the spectrum, you want to give them the 360-degree lifestyle that they can. And so watching him go to prom, watching him go to dances, watching him at Clemson, seeing big man on campus, when we drop him off, they would know. I mean, I think about, Taj Bowie, who is I think the quarterback for the Houston Oilers, knew him, and he'd come up to him and dap him and be like, "What's up, man? Well, tell me about your summer." So it's just super important to be able to acknowledge the fact that not only did he work hard to become more, he worked hard to be socially ready. That's all him.
I understand. If you had to do anything differently in your time with Tyler from his early years until now, what would that be?
I think I would have enjoyed the journey more versus being so concerned about what the destination was. I think I've spent so much of my life, even from that little 4-year-old girl to now, focusing in on the journey. I mean, focusing in on the destination, that there are elements of my life that I missed that I didn't enjoy the journey.
I
So,
understand. And you also said, we talked about Sarah being a great support. Your mother was a
mm,
great support as well.
oh my gosh, yes, that goes without saying. I mean, my mother and my father, but I think my mother was just always adamant that you did all the right things when you were pregnant. You're a great mother, and now you can't wallow in this. You got to keep going forward for him. And I, listen, she was a great. Well, I watched her with my sister, and I didn't really realize there was anything different with my sister until I was much older. And that's a testament to how she raised us. And I don't know that I'll ever measure up, but I do think she was a great role model, and she was always there. I mean, he's her heart. He's her heart. And she, sometimes I always tell her, I think you love him more than me. Uh, she loves him. Yes.
What words of advice would you give young parents who have to rear children with autism?
It's no different than the way you rear a normal child or a typical child. You got to know they're a blessing from God, and I believe that. You got to ask God to wrap them around his arms and be with him every single day. And, you got to know that you're their mouthpiece and you're their voice, whether you're an African American man growing up and just stopped by the police, whether you're, an African American female that wants to break barriers, or whether you're a child that doesn't have typical characteristics. We are the mouthpiece for our children, and we owe it to them to be engaged and to be active all the time.
What would you like for people to gain from your book? What is the main point that you want to drive into the minds of your readers?
It's about hope. Just because your child is born with autism or Down syndrome or cerebral palsy, or they're born typical and then mental health issues show up later in life. It's a journey, not a destination, and it's all about hope. I want them to walk away with hope. Everybody's outcome's not going to be the same as Tyler's. Some are going to do a lot better, some are not going to do as well in society's terms. But it's what your version of hope is, and just stay on that journey.
And if people want to get your book, From Autism to Beyond, A Mother's Journey of Hope, how can they do that?
They can do it in two places. They can go to Amazon.com and click in the search engine, From Autism to Beyond, A Mother's Journey of Hope. or they can go to barnesandnoble.com. And it is also on Kindle, and it's on the Apple platform. So it's out there. I would love for people to grab it. It's a relatively short read, 72 pages. There's humor, there's hope, there's inspiration. And if you don't have a child that's not on the spectrum, you might know somebody who's there, and it will also help those that are around how you need to support us effectively. Because I have some experiences and stories where there were people who missed things along the way that they could have been far more supportive of me. And so just know what your role is. I really appreciate you taking time and spending with me, Stephanie. It means a lot to me.
Wow, I'm just so grateful that you took time to be with us. I mean, I know you're busy, you're a busy woman, and I just appreciate your taking time to be with Smiles Television. Is there anything else that we did not get a chance to touch on that you want to make sure our audience hears?
Use your village. Use your village. Understand that every child's a blessing. Take advantage of the journey and focus less on the destination. That's it.
Well, thank you, Marietta. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. And I want to remind our audience once again, get the book, Autism to Beyond, A Mother's Journey of Hope. And I'm so glad you put that in there, A Mother's Journey of Hope, because we have to keep hope alive. Marietta, thank you again.
You do.
And God bless you and Tyler and the whole family. Looking forward to seeing you soon. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Smile Television Talk Show. Remember, from Autism to Beyond, Mother's Journey of Hope. Get the book. Only what you do for Christ will last. And Jesus is the Lord. The Lord be magnified. Keep smiling.
The Smiles Television Talk Show wants to showcase your business, organization, church, and activities. If you have an interest in being a guest on Smiles Television Talk Show, or if you have any show ideas, contact Stephanie Anthony Miles at SmilesTV 777 at gmail.com. You may also call 618-741-3770. Tell your friends to subscribe to the Smiles YouTube channel. Let Smiles TV increase your reach. Remember, you look better with smiles.
Welcome to Southwestern Illinois College, more commonly called SWIC. There's a campus near you. SWIC campuses are in Belleville, East St. Louis at the East St. Louis Higher Education Center, the Sam Wolf Granite City campus, and the Red Bud campus. There are even available classes online. If you take a look at SWIC's Adult Education and Literacy Department along with SWIC's Workforce Equity Initiative program, you're bound to find a fit for you. Certifications are available in highway construction, transportation distribution, and logistics, warehouse forklift safety, welding, unarmed security officer certifications are available, practical nursing assistant, and phlebotomy. Are you in need of high school equivalency classes? English as a second language classes? Sounds like a lot of money to you, right? Well, you might be surprised to find that many programs and courses are free and financial aid available for those who qualify. The Financial Aid Office is available to assist you. One last thing, SWIC's Adult Education and Literacy Department along with SWIC's Workforce Equity Initiative program works diligently to prepare you for employment. SWIC's Student Services Department was created for you and it is available to help you. Let SWIC help you to chart your path in the right direction. It's your time. Take a step. Move forward with SWIC. For additional information, call 618-235-2700. 618-235-2700.
When you visit Big Mama's in East St. Louis, Illinois, located at 5900 St. Clair Avenue, you will need a fork and a bib. Big Mama's is known for their barbecue, cakes, excellent service, and giving back to the community. Call in, eat in, drive through, carry out, order for your office. You can call Big Mama's at 618-398-8950 or visit 5900 St. Clair Avenue in East St. Louis, Illinois.
Are you looking for an insured and bonded residential or commercial contractor? On Time Contracting, owned by Ali McDowell, is just a phone call away. On Time Contracting operates with the utmost integrity and quantities to complete your project right on time.
residential or commercial, exterior or interior, roofing, siding, flooring, you name it. If you want your project completed for the price quoted and at the time quoted, contact On Time Contracting. Good, quality, professional work guaranteed to be completed on time. Call 618-567-3591. No project is too large or too small. On Time Contracting. Call On Time Contracting today.
Hi, my name is Sterling Moody. I'm the owner of Neighbors Market, 1005 North 15th Street, on the Echo Jazz building across from Emerson Park Metrolink stop. We have fresh barbecue Friday and Saturdays. We have Sunday through Saturday, open from 7 to 7. Look forward to seeing you in the store.
IDEX Media does a lot. From IDEX Photography to IDEX Films. We help create forever memories and forever impressions. Imagination, image a world. IDEX Media.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, baby.
The Smiles Television Talk Show wants to showcase your business, organization, church, and activities. If you have an interest in being a guest on Smiles Television Talk Show, or if you have any show ideas, contact Stephanie Anthony Miles at SmilesTV 777 at gmail.com. You may also call 618-741-3770. Tell your friends to subscribe to the Smiles YouTube channel. Let Smiles TV increase your reach. Remember, you look better with smiles.
Fireworks, and more fireworks. Molly's Fireworks Extravaganza, located at 6607 Bond Avenue in Cahokia Heights, Illinois, has the best variety and lowest prices in the bi-state area. Owned by Molly Stanley, Molly's Fireworks Extravaganza has become the go-to place to shop in the Metro East area. They are open from 9 o'clock a.m. until 9 o'clock p.m. Molly's Fireworks Extravaganza, located at 6607 Bond Avenue in Cahokia Heights, Illinois.